Hello, everyone, and welcome to the live stream. So, Martha Stewart, if anyone remembers, had her version of The Apprentice right after Donald Trump. Well, it was around the same time, actually. Donald Trump had his show, The Apprentice, which he claimed was like the number one rated show on NBC. Then Martha Stewart came and had her own show. Trump was jealous, apparently, of Martha Stewart, her show having just as much success as his show, which was the original Apprentice. And then, well, no, actually, I think the original Apprentice was based on a British series. Or no, was that, no, The Office. Okay, anyways. But, anyways, Donald Trump had the first American Apprentice, I know that for sure. And then Martha Stewart had her spin off, The Apprentice. And then allegedly, Trump had, because he was jealous of Martha Stewart, he tried to either get or find or make dirt on her, and he had her sent to prison. So Hello, welcome. Someone came in and said, hello, first off, welcome, David. He said, Martha is hot. Martha is hot. You are right. I was looking through the photos to make a meme, and I came across this photo, and I was like, Martha's hot. And I was like, you know what? This would be a great photo to get people coming in. So, yeah, I specifically chose this photo because Martha is hot when I was making the meme. But also because I like how she has the apron on, and the apron is like a sign of hard work, in my opinion. A lot of people in my family wore aprons because we were in the food industry. So when I see someone wearing an apron, I think they're like I get the hard worker feeling. So then the second person came in, Julie. Well, welcome, Julie. Julie said, why are you bringing Trump into it? You want to sound like you know what you're talking about. Why are you bringing Trump into it? Maybe Nancy Pelosi. So, yeah, Nancy Pelosi did also do insider trading on a major level. And Trump said he was going to prosecute Nancy Pelosi for insider trading. Wow. Hold on. Something's clicking here. Okay. So, I said earlier before people came in, I was waiting for people to come in to start talking again. I said earlier that if people remember in the 2000s, 1990s, 2000-ish, Donald Trump had his hit show The Apprentice. He was like boasting about it. It was like his most famous thing, The Apprentice. He had a hit show. Then Martha Stewart came out with her version of The Apprentice, and Donald Trump apparently did not like it. He was jealous of her. He didn't want her apprentice to overshadow his apprentice to get more ratings than him. And apparently there was some conspiracy theories put around, but no one was really sure that Donald Trump actually was the reason that Martha Stewart was sent to prison for insider trading. Because Donald Trump, when he's jealous of someone, when he hates someone, when he wants to get back at them, well, I mean, Martha Stewart didn't really do anything wrong to him, did he? Did she? Just for having her own version of The Apprentice. So Donald Trump allegedly, according to several conspiracy theorists back in the day, he was the reason Martha Stewart went to prison for insider trading. He either set her up or he found the dirt on her, etc. Now, of course, I'm not defending people who do insider trading. It's still a crime. But obviously, clearly, this is not the first time that Donald Trump has used the justice system to go after someone, right? He also, what did he say about Hillary Clinton? He said, Hillary Clinton, lock her up. She's a nasty woman. That was his first campaign promise when he first ran for president. Lock Hillary up. Hillary's a nasty woman. Hillary Clinton. Lock her up. Send Hillary to prison. Send Hillary to prison. Lock her up. And then also, of course, Trump just recently, there's a whole video where he says he wants to prosecute Nancy Pelosi for insider trading. And then also, of course, Trump went after Kamala because it was during election time, right? And of course, so there's kind of a pattern there. But I will say, in Trump's defense, that I do feel like Trump often is vilified because he says what other people are too afraid to say. So Trump says what's ever on his mind, which is a very good quality because there's a lot of people in Washington that would never have the balls to say that they were want to prosecute Nancy Pelosi for insider trading. Nancy Pelosi, a woman that could probably is so rich that if she wanted to, she could make people disappear. So Trump definitely has the balls to make statements like that, and he can get away with it because he has money, power, etc. Now, if other people got on stage, a lot of lower level politicians, and said that the same things that Trump said, those people would be fired. Those people would go missing. Like if other politicians tried to say the same stuff Trump says, those people would be like ostracized, exiled from the community. So I do like that about Trump, that he speaks his mind. I don't know for sure if Trump really is the reason why Martha Stewart was sent to prison. If he, like, there was a theory that he was jealous of her version of The Apprentice and he wanted to stick it to her. in a different way, stick it to her. Obviously, he didn't want to anyways, he wanted to stick it to her in a different way, but you know what I mean? Not like in the way he did it on Epstein. So Donald Trump basically, there's a kind of a pattern there, a little bit. Now, also, let's bring up another feud that he has going on. Rosie O'Donnell. I don't know why Donald Trump just don't like Rosie O'Donnell. I don't like her either, actually. So it's not really a good example because I don't really like Rosie O'Donnell. It's gonna be hard for me to defend Rosie O'Donnell right now because I don't like her either. But let me just say, um, I guess no, I don't like Rosie O'Donnell. I have watched Rosie O'Donnell and I do not like her. I do not like her here nor there. I do not like her anywhere, and I will not defend her in any way. So Donald Trump is right about Rosie O'Donnell. Let's move on. Megyn Kelly. I think Megyn Kelly did kind of go after Trump in the first debate. Or you remember that televised debate, which was where he brought up Rosie O'Donnell, and he said it was a famous. He said, "Oh, except Rosie O'Donnell or whatever," and because I think someone asked Trump along the lines of, "Hey, Trump, do you hate anyone?" And Trump's like, "No one except Rosie O'Donnell," right? So Megyn Kelly was the one who was moderating the debate, and Megyn Kelly apparently was really harsh on Donald Trump. And Donald Trump really ripped into Megyn Kelly. I do like Megyn Kelly. I don't think Megyn Kelly was being mean to Trump. I think she was trying to be fair. I actually think that Megyn Kelly honestly believed, that people were expecting her to be easier on Trump. So rather than her be easier on Trump and make people disappointed in her that she would go easy on him, she threw him a lot of hardballs. And so I think that's why Megyn Kelly was more. But I don't think Megyn Kelly's a bad person. I disagree with Trump on that one. I like Megyn Kelly, and I don't think that what he said about her was accurate. I think she's a journalist, and she is responsible sometimes, especially when it's for president. She has to give the hard hitting questions. And if you watch Megyn Kelly, she's not afraid to go there. Megyn Kelly is not afraid to go there. So, Trump, what were you expecting with Megyn Kelly? You were expecting her to be on your side, right? But really, Megyn Kelly is a journalist. She's a journalist at the end of the day, and she's not afraid to go there. So, so then with regards to Trump's feud with Stormy Daniels, or the whole Stormy Daniels issue, do I believe that Trump did some stuff with Stormy Daniels? Yes. Do I believe it really matters? No. I think to take a man's personal, private pleasure life, you know what I mean by pleasure? To take a man's pleasure life and try to use that against him is sick. Unless, of course, it has to do with the Epstein list, and of course, then those people are sick. But I'm talking about the fact if it's two consenting adults, right? Like Stormy Daniels is a consenting adult. She's an actress. You know what kind of actress I'm talking about. Stormy Daniels, she's a consenting adult, and so is Trump. They're both adults. So they tried to throw that relationship in Trump's face. And I think that's wrong. Because that really has nothing to do with politics. That has nothing to do with the running the country. Donald Trump, liking Stormy Daniels and having an infatuation with her, is like a side thing for a man. It's his man thing on the side. It has nothing to do with how he runs the country. And I think for them to attack Trump with the Stormy Daniels stuff, I think that was wrong. The women that came forward 30 years later and accused Trump of all this stuff, I mean, you know what? I really don't know. I'm not even gonna touch that one. I'm not even gonna go there with that one because I'm on the fence with that one, actually, to be honest with you. Because at first I was on Trump's side, then I was on the women's side, then I went back and forth. I don't know. Okay, something's there though. And then who else did Trump fight with? Trump fought with Marco Rubio. So Marco Rubio gave some pretty big, not big, I guess, small. Okay, he referred to Trump's size of his you know what. Anyways, Marco Rubio was on the stage with Donald Trump, and Marco Rubio referred to Trump's something size, hand size, being small, whatever, making reference to Trump's you know what, right, being small or whatever. And Marco Rubio was taking jabs at what Trump Also, Mark Cuban was taking jabs at Trump. And even JD Vance, which is, oh, and also let's not forget Mike Pence, who, after working with Trump for 4 years, after Mike Pence, Trump's first vice president, worked with Trump for 4 years, Mike Pence, the first vice president of Trump, did not like Trump no more, did not want to work with him. Then we have JD Vance, who originally said that he did not like Trump. Dana Bash was doing an interview with JD Vance. This was before election time, and she said, "You called Kamala Harris a chameleon. You said Kamala Harris changes her accent, etc. But you changed your opinion," she said to JD Vance, "you changed your opinion on Trump because originally we have an interview clip where you said you don't even like Trump. And now that Trump offers you to be his VP, Vice President of America, you're going to take the Vice President job even though you don't like Trump." And that's pretty much what happened. I mean, you offered him the job as Vice President. That's like the biggest career opportunity. And I was thinking maybe it is a little bit unethical to take the Vice President job even though you don't like the president. But I looked at it a different way and I realized something. No, because actually JD Vance has the opportunity, especially if it's a president you don't like, to work under a president you don't like. JD Vance has this great, unique opportunity to like spy on Trump, get dirt on Trump, like expose Trump, or just flat out do stuff better for the economy, but change the government, right? Obviously, he doesn't have to be vice president just to do something about Trump. He could be vice president just because he just wants to be vice president and he wants to make America better. So, no, I think that it's really hard to judge JD Vance for taking the vice president job, even though he originally stated in an interview he doesn't actually like Trump. It's hard because, it was the biggest career opportunity of his life. Imagine someone offers you to make you vice president and you turn it down. It's like that Eminem song that they played constantly, that Eminem song. You only get one shot, one opportunity, one shot, one opportunity, right? So JD Vance, I definitely could see why he didn't turn down the vice president job to be the vice president of the United States of America. So let's go back to comments because I know people don't like me. No. um okay, Victor came in and Victor said she went to jail for perjury, not insider trading. I don't why did the media I could swear that the media said that she went to prison for insider trading. I mean, I didn't really look over the case. I'm not like a legal counsel for her. Like, I'm just a person, a viewer from the public who heard in the media. I could swear that I heard it so many times that Martha Stewart went to prison for insider trading. And then something about her stockbroker being worse and was the one who kind of set her up a little bit. Because obviously she's not a stockbroker, Martha Stewart. So if she did get the stock tip, it was probably from her stockbroker. So okay. Anyways, I don't know exactly why she went to prison, but she went to prison for something. And I'm just repeating what the media did say. I do remember several media outlets say she went to prison for insider trading. So it is kind of unfair and it's kind of a slap in the face to all of the people who went to prison for minor things, marijuana, things that are where they were even innocent of wrongfully accused. And then Donald Trump or whoever's on this Epstein list, all these Epstein list people, they're getting this free pass. It's not really fair, you know? Now, I wanted to bring up something really special about Martha Stewart. Martha Stewart, and I'm not trying to promote her show or nothing. This isn't a promotional advertisement for Martha Stewart. This is actually a really interesting conversation that I really want to talk about because it has to do with ASMR. I don't know if you know what ASMR is, but it's like this. If you've never experienced ASMR, it's not a drug. It's not a drug. I don't do drugs. I'm anti-drug. ASMR is like this really tingly feeling. Anyways, now I got this different kind of ASMR when watching the new Martha Stewart. Martha Stewart, she is back. She's been back for a while. Or maybe she never left. Did she always have the Martha Stewart channel? Maybe she probably did. She probably always had it. But Martha Stewart definitely made more episodes where like she's in her 70s and 80s, and she shows clips actually from like 20, 30 years ago, from like, the Martha Stewart back in the day. And when you're watching this new show with Martha Stewart, when you see Martha Stewart the change, it's very like, as a person who like is alive, a person, any human, a living human being, this is very interesting for any living human being to see how Martha Stewart has changed from like when she was in her 40s and 50s to the 80s, or no, to now she's like in her 80s, right? Interesting. And also interesting how television has changed, because she shows clips of the original show about 30, 40 years ago. And also interesting, I get this kind of really kind of ASMR, a different kind of ASMR though, not a tingly ASMR. I get kind of an ASMR feeling, like I feel like I'm almost traveling back in time. It's like a time travel ASMR, which is a little bit soothing because, everyone wants to travel back in time. Everyone wants to go back to the 90s. The 90s was such a great era. Everyone misses the 90s. A lot of people have nostalgia over the 90s. Not everyone, but a lot of people. And when you watch Martha Stewart's new show, how she shows clips like from the 90s and 2000s and then to now, it almost, and the fact that the whole show is about gardening and making the home better and recipes and family, and she has dinners and stuff, it makes you really like relax. It's like a really relaxing show. So I think the relaxation part of it, and then of course she does, it's very soothing music, and she shows the vegetable garden, and she shows great recipes, really good. She showed this recipe for a meringue cake. It was so beautiful. It looks so good, the meringue cake. So she does all this, and she has like great dialogue, and she's pretty funny with the guests. So all of this stuff, it makes like a really, like a homey kind of feeling, like a really, like, like a home environment, like you miss growing up, like you miss the 90s, you miss how life was before we had all these problems, because when you become an adult, you have all these problems. You have like workplace politics. You have vicious, jealous people constantly after you. You have, you're constantly being shocked and confused. People are suddenly, one day people tell you that, oh, Canada was behind 9/11. No one believes it. And the next day people tell you the French president's wife was a man. I'd be more inclined to believe that Canada was behind 9/11, not that the French president's wife was a man. Turns out the French president's wife was a man. And Canada was behind 9/11. I know why. I can't tell you why, but anyway. Canada was behind 9/11. Anyways, I'm Canadian, so but basically, that's what I'm saying. So it's like now we have all of these problems, and when you watch Martha Stewart, it is kind of like a really soothing back in time travel, like you're traveling back to the 90s a little bit, but you're still kind of present. Because honestly, I can't watch 90s TV shows anymore. Like if you're gonna say, oh well, just go watch 90s TV shows. I can't do that. I'll tell you why. Because as much as I want to return back to the past, we cannot. We can't go back to the past. We can't change what was has been done. I've been a victim of many things. People have done horrible things to me. Would I have avoided? Well, I didn't go down a dark alley, but you know what I'm saying. Just in terms of figure of speech, would I have avoided going down that dark alley if I had known what was going to happen? Yes, of course. If I could get a time machine and go back and change it, I would never have, done this, done that, gone to that college program, hang out with those people, stuff like that, right? That's what I meant. I never actually physically went down a dark alley. I think when I actually have walked down dark alleys, nothing ever bad happened to me. A lot of times the stuff that bad happened to me in broad daylight when everyone was watching. Anyways, so basically, I've been mugged and I've been robbed in public. Thugs put a gun to my head and robbed me, stole all my money in broad daylight. So basically, we can't go back in the past. We can't change the past. And sometimes when I'm watching the 90s TV shows, they are interesting. The 90s TV shows are definitely interesting to watch. But like I said, it's also kind of depressing because we can't go back in the past. We just can't. But the Martha Stewart show, the newer one, It's like I'm still in the present, but I can still kind of have that 90s feeling. I can still have like a bit of a soothing ASMR. I can learn recipes. There's many reasons. And a lot of times good TV shows, there are many reasons why to watch good TV shows. Buffy the Vampire Slayer, like, a good TV show meets like seven check boxes. Okay, let's go through the seven check boxes of a good TV show. So the first one's kind of obvious, but okay, good-looking people. That's a good story, but it's the truth. I mean, that's why a lot of people watch soap operas because they're beautiful people. I'm sure someone's gonna say, "Oh, well, I watch a certain soap opera and they're all ugly, and I don't care." Like whatever, I'm just saying. And generally speaking, soap operas have beautiful people. So good-looking people, one checkbox of a show. Second checkbox of a show makes you think outside the box, makes you think about things. I think like philosophical reason to watch the show. Third reason, action, entertainment, suspense, drama, all those kinds of things. Fourth reason to watch a television show, coded messages, hidden codes within the messages. If you are a person that's good with mathematics, if you're a natural cryptographer and you're good at code breaking, if you're like a person really good with English language skills, if you're interested in codes, if you have a different kind of mindset, if you have a different kind of brain where you can see codes and patterns and codes, a lot of these Hollywood TV shows, they incorporate little patterns and codes into them, and you see stuff and you learn interesting stuff. The fifth checkbox that makes a TV show great is like if it gives you like a special feeling, right? This that special feeling I was trying to talk about with the Martha Stewart show, the new one, like that homey feeling, that comfort food feeling, comfort food, homey feeling. And Martha Stewart does cook a lot of comfort food, so imagine it makes sense that she does give you that comfort kind of feeling. So that special feeling you get when you're watching a certain television show. I like Buffy the Vampire Slayer. It got because Buffy the Vampire Slayer, I liked that the fact that it was so different. Like it was like the first time a female was really like running into battle versus running away from battle. Really, well, no. Okay, I meant like on television. Obviously, there's been many female warriors in the past. There's been many female warriors, but I meant this was a big TV series for, anyways. So, the sixth reason, in my opinion, why the checkbox that makes a TV show great is longevity and continuity. Martha Stewart has longevity and continuity in terms of her TV show. It's been around for a long time. Other TV shows, like imagine you're getting into a new TV show and it's great. Oh, you love this TV show. You can't wait for the second season. It's canceled, only one season. That is like the ultimate, like that sucks. Like, so a TV show having longevity and continuity, at least go for 5, 6 seasons. I like Dynasty too. I like Dynasty. It only went for five, like the new Dynasty, the one they remade on Netflix. I really like that new Dynasty. I never watched the old Dynasty, but the new Dynasty's great. The Dynasty did end, but at least they went for 5 seasons. Now there's like some of these new TV shows. You think you watch them hoping, and then they only do for one season. It's like, oh wait. So continuity, longevity, that's a big one. That's a big check mark for me. I like continuity, longevity. I like being able to like just keep replaying episodes in the background. And if it's only like a one season show, then boom, you're done after 5 hours, right? So I like to have TV in the background while I study too. So the seventh check mark that makes a TV show great, in my opinion. And of course, there's probably more check marks. People are going to come up with other things. I probably missed something. But the seventh reason that I came up with is like an all knowing God. So here's I don't mean it figuratively. Figuratively, what I mean is I like a TV show that shows you things from different perspectives. So, for example, if someone talks about myths and stuff like that, Why would people, talk about this myth? Why do people not walk under ladders and stuff like that, right? Why do people like have these superstitions, right? Well, suddenly the TV show actually tells you like where the superstitions came from, the origins. And so a really good investigative research kind of television show that really shows you different angles and different sides of things. I'll give you an example. Okay, another example. So, uh, you know, The Simpsons, when I watched that Japanese, not, there's a Japanese episode where Homer Simpson, he was going to eat pufferfish. Pufferfish is poisonous if it's not prepared correctly. And if in the episode of The Simpsons, I guess the Japanese sous chef was worried he didn't prepare it properly. Homer Simpson thought he was going to die of poison, being poisoned. It was a big heartbreaking episode of thank God Homer Simpson lived. But it made me wonder, like, why would Japanese people risk their lives eating pufferfish? Why? And I went to go research this. I'm like, I Googled it. I'm like, why would Japanese people risk their lives eating pufferfish? And it's not that Japanese people were like want to risk their lives. Actually, no. What happened was there was a food shortage, a major food shortage in Japan, and they had to eat pufferfish because it was readily available, and they had to figure out a way how to eat it without getting poisoned. So when you think you know something, or when you think, oh, that's crazy, you know what I mean? Why would Japanese? Well, no, Japanese people weren't crazy. They weren't like, had a, Japanese people had no choice to eat the pufferfish because there was a shortage of food. Also, China's population has always been what, double, triple, quadruple the size of Japan. And a lot of times the problem of the food shortage was because of China's population being so huge next to Japan. So the more people you have, the more mouths you have to feed, right? The more people you have, the more mouths you have to feed. Harder to feed everyone when there's more people to feed. So China's population, and then apparently China had went in and robbed Japan. There was a big, and that's what led to the Japanese-China War. So Japan, the Japanese people are not like crazy people who are evil people who just want to, go to war with the Chinese people for no reason. No, and that's originally the story. So you always hear the stories of the winners. You always hear the stories of the winners. The winners of the war tell their version of the story. You never really hear the full truth. And so the Japanese people were not just like evil people who just wanted to go to war with China because they just hate China for no reason. No, apparently the Chinese Japanese war had been going on for a while. The Chinese Japanese, I'll get to your comment in a second. I just saw when someone left a new comment. Thank you. The Chinese Japanese war apparently had been going on for a while. And one of the big things that sparked the war was the food shortage, the major food shortage. And then China's population just being triple, double, quadruple the size of Japan approximately was Japan blamed China in part for the food shortage, the major food shortage, because the Japanese people were responsible people. If they're gonna have two, if they know they can only have enough food to feed two kids, then they only have two kids, right? So the Japanese people were responsible. If they only know they have enough food to feed one kid, they'll have one kid. If they only, right? Or even know, but in China, they were having like what, five, six, seven kids, but like pretty irresponsible. Because then and then China just expects everyone else to pay for the kids, to feed the kids. Oh, it's okay if China has like millions of people or billions of people because they'll just send those Chinese people to other countries and then those countries can take care of the Chinese people and feed the Chinese people. That's extremely irresponsible. Okay? So, and that's why the Chinese population is like huge. It's like billions, right? Now, and if anyone wants to say, oh, who won the war? Who really won the war? China won the war. I mean, when the population of like America is like, and I'm just exaggerating a little bit, like obviously I don't know the exact numbers, but I'm just, you know, for comical reasons exaggerating a little bit. When the population of America is what, like 20 people, and then China's like 5 million people, you know what I mean? Like like obviously when the population of America is like, I think it's 330,000 approximately. So 330,000, no, 330 million. 330 million. The population of America is 330 million. And then the population of China, not only including China, but also all of the Chinese people all around the world, right? Include Chinese people in Australia, Chinese people in Germany, Chinese people in France, Chinese people in Germany, Chinese people in California, Chinese. I always joke that California is its own country because it's so, Chinese people in Mexico, Chinese people in Canada. When you not only take China's population of being what, like 2 billion, almost 2 billion in China alone, but then you take the Chinese people from all around the world, there's probably like, what, 8 billion people on the planet? I would say, what, 5 billion of those 8 billion are Chinese? Well, no, I would say about 5 billion of those 8 billion are Asians, for sure. For sure. And of course, it's an estimate because I don't know the exact number, but I'm very confident in the estimate that I will say that 5 billion of the 8 billion people on the planet are Asians. Because China alone makes up like what, 3, 4 billion, and then when you add in Japan, you add in the Philippines, you add in Singapore, you add in South Korea, you add in North Korea, you add in Indonesia, right? Suddenly now you realize, oh my God, like yeah, out of the 8 billion people on the planet, 5 billion of those 8 billion approximately are Asians. So who won the war? Well, not just, of course, Asians won the war, but especially who won the war? China won the war when China has such a huge population, right? So I think that is, in my opinion, how would you measure success? Would you measure success in money, glory? Glory, I mean, if you're dead, if you die, what is glory if you die, right? So people say, oh, he went out in a glorious way. People say, oh, he rich money. Well, a lot of rich people, you know what money does, right? My say in terms of how someone wins a war, what I think in terms, in my opinion, I think a country that wins a war is the country that at the end of the day has the biggest population and essentially has colonized the world. And China has essentially colonized the world. Okay. Um, and it's, of course, the Chinese people, they have a lot of knowledge, they have a lot of secrets, which they pass down. Martha Stewart had a Chinese woman on her show, on her TV show. She was teaching her how to make dumplings and all this stuff, other stuff. And she was just so brilliant. Martha Stewart, of course, was also brilliant, but the Chinese woman was so brilliant because China actually, their country is what, like 2,000 years old or something? So China, they have all this ancient knowledge and ancient secrets, and all of these secrets are passed down from generation to generation. China knows stuff. Like China knows a lot of stuff. In fact, if I was talented enough to be able to speak Chinese, and would you rather spy on Russia or spy on China? Of course, Russia has secrets too, but I think China has more valuable secrets for humanity that is hiding from humanity. Think China. But of course, I was like, oh God, I tried Chinese Mandarin for like 2 months. I'm like, nope, I can't do it. I can't speak Chinese, can't speak Mandarin. It's too hard, too hard. So I did Russian. So I do speak fluent Russian. So yeah. So basically, I think in terms of a war, that's who won the war, the people with the biggest population, which is China. Now back to Martha Stewart. The only thing that I don't like, and here's how I will criticize Martha Stewart, who is a person that I adore and think is wonderful. Well, I am a vegetarian and I don't eat meat. Martha Stewart obviously eats meat. Um, but of course, Martha Stewart, no, no one will ever be perfect in anyone's eyes, right? No one will ever be perfect, right? Um, and I'm not going to knock her and say that she's not perfect by being a vegetarian because by not being a vegetarian, because in her opinion, she thinks that she is perfect or maybe she doesn't think she's perfect, but she doesn't think that being a meat eater is a not, is not, is like a, is a not, is a knock to her. And I'm not saying it's a knock. It's not a knock to her. It's not a knock. It's not a knock at all. You know, it's her choice. If she wants to eat meat, that's her choice. It's not a knock to her. But what I'm saying is, I, to be honest, I'm not just gonna gush over a celebrity or someone that I admire and say, oh, this person, you know, oh, no, no, I'm also gonna bring up the stuff that I don't like that they do. So this is not like a pure, oh, I love Martha Stewart kind of thing. I do think she's great, but, and I, you know, I do appreciate her and all her recipes. But you know, I'm not a meat eater. So unfortunately, I don't agree with that part. But that's what I'm saying. So you don't agree with everything, unfortunately. But I do agree that Donald Trump probably did send Martha Stewart to prison because he was jealous of her show, The Apprentice, which was doing better than his show at some point. Or maybe not doing better, but just he just was jealous the fact that she got her own show too. Because Trump really felt special having The Apprentice, and then Martha Stewart had her version of The Apprentice. So yeah, Martha Stewart. So yeah, let's go to comments now. So let's sorry, go back up here. Merton, I'm not sure if I'm saying your name right. I'm apologize if I didn't say your name right. Uh, Merton made a lot of comments. Let's go up. He said, "I hope someday we will have our legal system back, but we have to vote politician and judges that these low life politicians hide." Okay, yeah, but we have to vote politician and judges that these low life politicians hide. Okay. Merton also said uh, he did a couple of messages that apparently were retracted. I'm not sure why they were retracted. I'm not sure if Merton retracted the messages or if YouTube retracted the messages. And then Merton said she went to jail because she sold her stock but did not warn politician to sell. Okay. Okay, thank you, Martin, for your comments. We also got Incognito. Incognito said Martha Stewart at Big Kmart. Yeah, I think right. Martha Stewart, did she promote Kmart? Work at Kmart? No, I think Martha Stewart. No, her products. Right, her products are at Kmart. She didn't work at Kmart. Well, I get technically she did work with Kmart, right? But I'm not. I don't know. Maybe she did work at Kmart as a clerk or something. I don't know exactly her background, but yeah, Martha Stewart's products are at Kmart. And yeah, definitely Martha Stewart is definitely an icon. Then someone else came in as Mary Lewis. Thank you for your comment. And Mary Lewis came in and she said, plenty who belong in jail before her. That's my whole point. Yeah, thank you, Mary Lewis. That's like the raison d'etre. Raison d'etre is like a French term for like the purpose of the whole, like whatever. Well, I think raison d'etre is more like for life. But anyways, purpose of my live stream today is to prove that, to show that, like, the criminal justice system is totally corrupt. It's used as a weapon. It is not used for justice. In fact, the most innocent people are being sent to prison. The prisons are full of the most innocent people. And knowing how the media lies, now every time, knowing how I've seen the media lie about other cases, now every time I watch the media, the news, I always have kind of like a inkling to want to hear the murderer side of the story. Okay, that came out wrong. The accused, not the murderers, the accused side of the story. I want to hear their side of the story. I know I'm not saying it's okay what they did, but I'm also saying that they might not even have done it. They could also be innocent, right? They could be wrongfully accused as well, right? So I always want to hear their side of the story, see both sides of the story, especially with all of these corrupt politicians walking around. Now there is a movie, a wonderful movie called Gone Girl. Gone Girl stars Ben Affleck. Ben Affleck, right? Uh, this is like Ben Affleck. I think it was in his like in his 40s. Ben Affleck in his 40s. So Gone Girl, starring Ben Affleck, Rosamund Pike. It's all about how the media tells lies and twists the story and gets innocent people sent to prison, and even innocent people have been executed under the death penalty. Thank God that Canada abolished the death penalty, but of course the United States still has the death penalty, and a lot of apparently innocent people have been wrongfully convicted and executed under the death penalty. So Gone Girl shows you, it's a movie, but it shows you how the media will take a story and twist the story and tell lies and get the innocent people sent away. And also, at the end of Gone Girl, which is a treat for the world, uh, mainly women, but men too. Well, okay, the treat that I will say about Gone Girl actually is that the guy, Ben Affleck, is found innocent at the end. That's the treat. But also, just a random fact that I'm going to throw in that has nothing to do with just a random fact about the movie. At the end of the movie, you also do happen to see Ben Affleck, and you see all of Ben Affleck, if you know what I mean. Like you see all of him. You see Ben Affleck, you see all of Ben Affleck. Ben Affleck is like a god. He's like a a really strong, tall, masculine man, and he's the whole package, if you know what I mean. And anyways, but no, what really matters about the Gone Girl movie is the fact that the innocent guy gets a happy ending. Well, no, he didn't really get a happy ending because he had to stay with that bitch. Sorry, I didn't say bitch. Okay, if you sorry. Okay, crap. Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. I apologize. Spoiler alert. First off, spoiler alert. But this movie needs to be watched. Okay, the bottom line is you need to watch this movie. Okay, in fact, the fact I told you about seeing all of Ben Affleck is probably going to inspire you to watch the movie. But morally too, ethically, and this is just a well done movie because it really shows you how the media lies and destroys people's lives. And now, if you watch the Gone Girl movie, every time you go to watch a news story, you will question the journalists. You will not just accept the mainstream narrative because the mainstream narrative, I would say like 90% of the time, is total bullshit. The mainstream narrative. And the Gone Girl movie with Ben Affleck is great at exposing these journalists and how they lie in the media and how they twist the story. And Ben Affleck was essentially got a happy ending in the terms that he at least was found innocent, although he was put through hell throughout the whole movie. Um, and what's more scary though, I guess it wasn't really a happy ending, and some could say it wasn't really a happy ending because he had to actually stay with her and she's a murderer who she was the one who was the actual murderer. The woman who claimed to be the victim was the actual murderer the whole time because she ended up murdering her. Anyways, I don't want to give away the story, but so that a happy ending? I mean, an innocent man was, but really, in America, America usually doesn't get the happy ending like in the movies. And in America, usually, the innocent people go to prison. Even the innocent people are executed on death row. The guilty people walk free. So Americans, everyday Americans, even everyday Canadians do not get the happy ending that we see in American movies. So was there really a happy ending? And especially in the movie where she gets away with a murderer of a different person. She's getting away with murder. She's the actual murderer and she's getting away with it. So this is an important movie to watch. And I'm sorry if anyone didn't get the spoiler alert in time, but it was worth it because this is a movie you need to watch. This movie needs I hope that 9 out of 10 people, if I ask them, have you seen the Gone Girl movie? I hope 9 out of 10 people will say yes. Okay? And not just because of Ben Affleck and you get to see all of Ben Affleck, but also because no, this is an important movie. Especially Trump, after Trump was saying all these years about fake news, fake news, fake news. He's right. Donald Trump is right. The news is fake. A lot of the news is fake. Not all of it, but a lot of the news is fake. And they destroy people's lives, the media. So I recommend people go watch the Gone Girl movie with Ben Affleck. It's also a good movie. It's not like, it's really well done. So it's an enjoyable movie. It's not like 24/7 Fest where it's like sad, like 24/7 sad, 24/7, scary stuff. No, it's a good mix. It's a good blend of, it's definitely a movie. It's a watchable movie. It's palatable. There's certain crime movies that I don't really like watching crime movies because it grosses me out seeing all the blood and everything. Now, Gone Girl, it does have scenes like that, but it's not like the whole movie. Like there's some crime movies that you watch that'll be nonstop, like so much gore, and that I can't handle. So this movie is good. It's got a good blend of you know, different stuff. So, and of course Ben Affleck, all of it anyway, and Rosamund Pike. Rosamund Pike is beautiful. She's a beautiful actress, Rosamund Pike. So the Gone Girl movie, I cannot promote it enough. I definitely am promoting. I'm not promoting Martha Stewart right now. I just know, of course, I like Martha Stewart. You should definitely check her out. I'm sure you know about her, but you should check out her new episodes with the Martha Cooks and everything, where she's like now doing it in her 70s and 80s. But especially, you should check out the Gone Girl movie, because the Gone Girl movie, it's really sad. But and this is the kind of thing that happens to everyday Americans constantly. Americans and Canadians are constantly wrongly accused. In fact, they are the victims. In fact, Ben Affleck, a lot of people will say he's actually the victim. He was the victim, really, because he was put through hell. And even before he married her, like, or no, like, well, anyways. But so basically, I'm just the point of the movie is obviously that a lot of innocent people go to prison, a lot of the guilty people. Like, imagine what's even more scary is knowing that there are murderers right now walking free. The real murderers are actually out there walking free. The real murderers are walking in public. I mean, your next door neighbor, your coworker, your best friend, your spouse. All of these people could be actually they're actually the guilty murderers, and because of the corrupt justice system, because of the corrupt incompetent justice system, all of these actual murderers are all walking around free, and the innocent people are in prison. So Caveman came in and said, pause on Ben Affleck. No, don't tell me to pause on Ben Affleck. No, he is right though. I did mention his name too much, but really, what I was trying to do was get people a reason to watch the movie. The movie, you need to watch the movie. The media, they're such liars. You're gonna be pissed off. You're gonna watch the Gone Girl movie and be like, oh my God, the journalists are such liars. And the way that they twist the story, the way that they take facts of the story, which, by the way, it's absurd to suggest that a man who cheats on his wife is more inclined to be a murderer. Well, you could say, I mean, I would say like 99% of men cheat, so, or 99% of men murderers. Like, that's ridiculous. Like, the lies that they tell. Like, when they find out that he was cheating on his wife, and then suddenly it's like, oh my God, this is gonna look bad. Like, you could maybe be the murderer for real. Just because he's cheating on his wife doesn't mean he's a murderer. Like, the lies that people tell, to go from cheating on your wife to that, oh, that makes you more inclined to be the murderer. No, it doesn't. In fact, it probably makes you less inclined to be the murderer. Because I will not spin it. I will tell you actually like this. If he's cheating on his wife and he's getting some kind of release, you know what I mean? He would be less likely to do something to her. You know what I mean? So I'm just saying it's just absurd that the things that people come up with, the lies that people come up with, and they tell. And so that's why you need to watch the movie. You're gonna be pissed off. You're gonna be like, oh my God. And then two, one scene really pissed me off because actually I've seen people do this. This woman goes up to Ben Affleck, like the actor, right? I can't remember his name in the movie, but anyways, goes up to Ben Affleck, the character in the movie, and wants to take a picture with him. Right after his wife went missing. After his wife went missing, Ben Affleck, there was this big public conference where he was trying to find his wife, missing Amy, find amazing Amy, find Amy. Ben Affleck was trying to find the wife, Rosamund Pike. And there was a big public news conference, and after the conference, Ben Affleck was standing around, and then a woman went up to Ben Affleck and said, "Oh, can I take a picture with you?" And Ben Affleck was he was really nice and he was just happy people were trying to help him find his wife. So he reluctantly took the picture with her. And he smiled in the picture because That's what you do when you take pictures. You smile. It doesn't mean that he was responsible for murdering his wife. It doesn't mean that he was the reason that just because he smiled in a photo, that meant that, and just because he smiled in a photo right after his wife went missing, that meant that, no, he was at a public event. He was appreciative of the fact that people were helping him find his missing wife. A woman goes up to him being super friendly. And what's he gonna do? Just be angry at her and yell at her and like have a really scary face with her when he takes the picture? Would that have been better? Would it have been better for Ben Affleck to take a scary picture face, like a mean, angry picture face with her? So of course she wanted to take a picture with him, which was kind of bizarre that she wanted to take a picture with him. I mean, she's the one who's suspect, really. So this woman at this public event wants to take a picture with him. She goes to take a picture with him, and he smiles because that typically when people take pictures, they smile. Okay. And he's not thinking, oh, how should I look in this photo? Because, my wife just went missing. No, he wasn't thinking that. He was just thinking, oh, I'm taking a picture, smiling, because that's what people do when you take pictures. They took the picture. So clearly the lady that wanted to take the picture with him was corrupt because she took that picture of him and she leaked it to the news. And then the next thing you know, you see Ben Affleck's smiley face, him smiling after his wife was just disappeared. And the way that the news spins it, the way that the media spins it, it says, oh my God, look at this guy. His wife just went missing and he's taking pictures with women and smiling with that grin. He's not allowed to smile. His wife went missing, and he's not allowed to smile ever again. He's not allowed to find something funny. He's not allowed to laugh at a joke. He's not allowed to smile. He's not allowed to do anything pleasurable. He's not allowed to watch a pleasurable movie. He's not allowed to watch a funny comedy movie. He's not allowed to smile. He's not allowed to smile. His wife went missing, so he's not allowed to smile. His wife went missing. He's not allowed to take pictures and smile. And it wasn't like it was his idea to take the picture. The lady wanted to take the picture, and he was just being nice to her because he was at a public event. See, these are the kinds of things that the way that the media lies. The way that the media lies to people. It's sick. It's disgusting. People have been defamed constantly. Candace Owens, by the way, who I actually do believe, at first I wasn't sure, but I actually do believe Candace Owens is being attacked right now by the media. The media are ganging up on Candace Owens. And it's the whole country of France is trying to turn the media on Candace Owens. So Merton came back with comments and said, um, I still would like a judge file against all high and might be charged. Okay. And then Heather Baldwin came in. Hello, welcome, Heather Baldwin. Heather Baldwin came in and said, oh, come on, he didn't go to prison, and neither did Leona Hemsley. Are you referring to Ben Affleck, the character in the movie? Or are you referring to Trump? Because when you said, I'm not sure if you were responding to the Gone Girl movie story about the movie, how I explained the Gone Girl movie. Anyways, thank you for your comment. And then also Jeff Mish came in, and Jeff said, release the Trumpstein files. Yes, release those Epstein files. Those Epstein files gotta be released, 100%. So. And you know what's really sad too is like, and I'm not a pothead. And like, of course, if the media want to twist the story on me, oh, he's defending potheads, he's defending marijuana users, he must be a pothead himself. No. In fact, I am definitely not a pothead. I didn't even want to work with those people in college. I do not do pot. I do not do drugs. First off, I'm not rich. I came from a poor family, and you have to be rich to do drugs usually. Usually, you have to have money to do drugs. And I did not do drugs, and I did not a pothead. But I don't think potheads and marijuana users should be tasered by the police just for smoking marijuana. And potheads and marijuana users were actually tasered and beat up by the police for years. Now it's legal, but I'm talking about before when it was illegal, before it was legalized marijuana. Pothead users, or potheads, marijuana users were brutalized, beaten up, tasered by the police for years. Meanwhile, they have this whole Epstein list full of Epstein list weirdo freaks, and the police are just letting these Epstein people get off. Does that make sense to you? A teenager smokes pot, marijuana, and the police officers taser. A, a teenager smokes pot, marijuana, and the police officers taser the teenager several times. Oh, tasering is dangerous. Tasering someone is dangerous. Could give you a heart attack. The police taser a teenager several times just because he smoked marijuana pot. But meanwhile, they have this whole Epstein list full of freaks, rich elite freaks on the Epstein list, and the police just let those guys get away. Something's wrong here with that picture. With not the picture of Martha Stewart. Something's wrong with you know that whole perspective. So then CR came in. Hello, welcome CR. CR said, depends on what part of the country you live in, lol. Not sure what you were responding. Anyways, yeah, that's true. I'm not sure what you're responding to there specifically. But yeah, definitely it depends on which part of the country too. I mean, obviously certain states are more corrupt. Apparently, California is a very corrupt state. I mean, also a very flaming hot state was on fire. Apparently, Gavin Newsom maybe had something to do with that. It's interesting how weird how after Trump said he wanted to make Canada the 51st state, then a few months later, California suddenly was on fire. Now, I'm not saying Canada did it, but knowing Canada, they probably did. Not saying they did it, not saying Canada was behind the California wildfires, but knowing how patriotic Canadians are, there's a reason why Canada has its own flag, has its own national anthem. Canada has its own music, etc., own singers. Canada has its own laws. Canada abolished the death penalty. So Canadians are not just like fly by night Canadians. Most Canadians are very patriotic. So when Trump said he wanted to make Canada the 51st state, that pissed off a lot of Canadians. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if we actually found out that Canadians set California on fire. I wouldn't be shocked, honestly. I'd be more shocked to learn that the French president's wife was a man, and sure enough, that turned out to be true. So CR also said, yeah, but if we're going to go into extreme hypotheticals, let's say you're a young man smoking weed, is running at the cops saying, F the police, and then gets tasered low. Okay. Or let's say that he's a pothead who is very mellow. He's a mellow pothead, and anyways, whatever. I'm not a pothead. I'm not a drug dealer. I don't do drugs. Okay. I'm just saying, obviously, there's way more guilty people that should be going to prison, and it seems like all the most innocent, the least guilty of the guilty, the most innocent are the ones going to prison. Sometimes the cops are sickos, like they'll just taser people for fun. The cops, like they'll sickos the cop. They're bored. Sometimes the cops are bored. They'll taser people for fun. They'll flash the light in your eyes for fun. They're abusive. The cops. They harass people. The cops. They are abusive. So I was in a state. I won't say which state, but anyways, I'm from Canada. And I wasn't like spreading socialism or spreading communism or promoting Canadian socialism in America. I wasn't doing nothing like that. But I was making fun of American politicians because it was election time and everyone was making fun of American politicians, like everyone, okay? I just happened to be in the United States on vacation. I was from Canada. I was a Canadian tourist. And I've always loved the United States because I love The Simpsons, I love Mad TV, I love Judge Judy, I love Saturday Night Live. In fact, I've always wanted to be a comedian. I want to be a comedian on Mad TV, but it got canceled. But Saturday Night Live, anyways. So I went to the United States because I like the United States, and I didn't want to go to Europe or Asia or Africa. Definitely not Africa. Maybe I shouldn't have said definitely not Africa, but I definitely want to go to Africa. Would not have gone to Australia. I went to the United States. I chose to spend my Canadian tourist dollars in the United States and bring tourist revenue to the United States. I went to the United States and I like the United States. And I also like free speech. I'm a big supporter of free speech. I am so free speech. And that's why I loved about the United States was free speech. And how, like they'll make fun of Bill Clinton and they'll do anything, and that Bill Clinton was hilarious and all this. So it was during election time, but this was right before Kamala Harris and Biden were going together against Trump, right? And this was actually even further. This was before Kamala Harris dropped out of the presidential race to be president, and then eventually she was picked to be the vice president. But so this was the debate stage. This is when Tulsi Gabbard was debating Kamala Harris on the debate stage. Tulsi Gabbard called out Kamala Harris for being a corrupt prosecutor, the most corrupt prosecutor in all of California, put innocent people in prison for slave labor. Kamala Harris allegedly put innocent people in prison for slave labor. Kamala Harris, she had there was an innocent man on death row who was innocent, and Kamala Harris knew he was innocent, and she was the prosecutor. And even though she knew he was an innocent man on death row, Kamala Harris blocked evidence that could have freed the man and got him from death row. Had it not been for a judge or someone in the system who allegedly had come forward and made Kamala Harris release the evidence that proved that the man was innocent, she wouldn't have done it. Kamala Harris would have just let the man get the death penalty. That's sick. Kamala Harris should be in prison. And Tulsi Gabbard called out Kamala Harris right on stage in front of everyone. So I think, especially after hearing that, all of the politicians were fair game to make fun of. And I like to make memes. Oh, now you're seeing the story, how it clicks. You're seeing the memes. I like to make memes. Now you're seeing the story. I like to make memes. I made a meme. Really, I won't. I can't. I'm not gonna just. I will for another day. If ever I actually get justice for what happened to me, I will tell the full story, the exact meme that went viral, the exact politician I suspect did it. But basically, I did a meme about one of the politicians. It's too traumatic to say too many details right now. But I did it, and actually, I am trying to still find an investigator to help me to put together the case. So I did a meme about one of the politicians. It went viral, got like 20 million views. I was shocked because my memes do usually go viral, but not like 20 million. And it was a funny meme. It was really funny. It was like laugh out loud funny meme. Like it was funny. And that's why it went viral. And then the next thing you know, a few weeks later, the police from a state, which I will not name, somewhere in the United States of America, the police attacked me, tasered me, beat me, humiliated me, uh, and obviously I am not a computer programmer or a computer expert. So when I made the meme about the politician, I mean, my degree's in marketing. I have a degree in marketing and advertising. That's my degree. My degree is not in computer programming. So I don't know how to like go on the internet anonymously and stuff like that. So when I made the meme that went viral, that got 20 million views, obviously, if this major politician wanted to track me down and find out who made this meme, that was basically like expose them for being how corrupt they are, laughing at how corrupt they are. Around, approximately, they obviously could have figured it out and then got the police to attack me, right? And that's what they did. And I was Canadian. And before this happened, I loved the United States. I was the biggest supporter of the United States, and especially for free speech, freedom of speech, and human rights. And then after the American police did this to me, which I won't state which state it was because I don't want. Anyways, I just it's really hard because you're already going on an uphill battle against the police because the police got deep pockets, the police got all the lawyers. And then, to be a real victim, it's so traumatic just to even remember, just to even talk about it. It's so traumatic. And then for people to even come in and call you a liar, say your story's fake, or try to find you and then anyways, basically, it's really traumatic to talk about. But was innocent. I had done nothing wrong. I was walking down the street. They were looking for me. In fact, they even mentioned after they arrested me, they mentioned something about me having a big mouth, making memes on the internet. One of the cops actually mentioned that. And that's how I know for sure that one of the politicians had hired the police to attack me, which is so corrupt, which is like they bribed the police. One of the American politicians bribed the police to attack me. A Canadian tourist who maybe makes jokes about the politicians, but they were fair game. Politicians are fair game. I mean, they're running for president of the United States of America. Like, Whoever is the next president of the United States of America affects Canada. It affects every country. It affects Russia. It affects Germany. It affects Mexico. You better believe that Canada has an interest in who's going to be the next president of the United States of America. It definitely affects Canada. Because if that guy's going to be a prick to Canada, it's in Canada's best interest to, well, we can't vote, but we can definitely give our opinion. Well, I mean, probably doesn't stop a lot of Canadians from voting, if you know what I mean, because a lot of Canadians are pretty crafty and they probably could figure out how to still vote in American elections. But still, what I'm saying is, I didn't vote. I didn't vote in American election. It doesn't stop me from giving my opinion, especially when the United States wants to go to war with all these countries and then drag in Canada to the war with you. United States, you started that war, and now you want to drag in Canadian troops. Now you want to drag in our Canadian military soldiers to go to war with you, United States. Is that really fair? Did we choose war? So I think that Canada, if the United States is going to drag Canada into all these wars with them, I think Canada should have a say, some kind of say, at least be able to say our opinion. I mean, it's not illegal to say our opinion. I'm allowed to say if I like Trump or not as a Canadian citizen. I'm allowed to say if I like Kamala Harris. It's free speech. It's my opinion. So I think Canadians have a right to have a say in who they. So if I'm on the internet criticizing corrupt politicians like Kamala Harris, but the meme actually wasn't about her actually specific. Well, she could have been the one who hired the cops and bribed the cops, because I'm not ruling that out, because I did make other memes about. Anyways, the meme that went viral and got 20 million views wasn't about Kamala Harris. It was about a different person. So, anyways, it's so traumatic to talk about. I can't even, I'm about to cry. But basically, that was a big turning point for me, right? That turned me from #1 American supporter into like, not Bin Laden supporter, but Russian supporter? Russian supporter. I think Russian supporter is good enough supporter. I can far enough. It turned me from an American loving Canadian who loved the United States to suddenly now I'm on Team Russia. Now I love Russia. Russia never tasered me, I don't think. Well, Russia wasn't behind it, I don't think. Anyways, Russia, I don't think Russia would have been behind the hiring the American cops that tasered me and attacked me. I do know that for many years, they accused the Russians of meddling in American elections. I'm like, you think the Russians can meddle in American elections? Watch this. I'm from Canada. No, I'm joking. Hold my beer. You think the Russians can meddle in American elections? I'm Canadian. Watch this. No, I'm joking. No, it's not meddling. It's like I said, we have a right, because what the United States does affects Canada. And as a concerned Canadian, patriotic Canadian, who's defending our motherland, Canada, Mother Canada, we have to defend our people and our political interests and our human rights and everything. And we have the right to give our opinion. It doesn't stop Americans from criticizing Justin Trudeau. Americans are constantly making fun of Justin Trudeau, and they're right for that. Justin Trudeau's a weirdo. Like, that guy's a nut job. Like, Justin Trudeau, he's into sick shit. Justin Trudeau's definitely on the Epstein list. But anyways, but what I'm saying is Americans have no problem criticizing Canadian politicians, and I was criticizing American politicians, okay? And I make funny memes, and some of the memes went viral. Very viral. 20 million views. I'm proud of the 20 million views on the meme. I'm not proud of when the cop pulled my pants down and tasered me in the butt and said, haha, take that fat, take that homosexual. You know, he didn't say homosexual. He said the other synonym for homosexual. But anyways, he didn't say homosexual. He said the F word. You know what I mean? He said, take that butt. And then he tasered me in the butt. And then I had never been tasered before. And I had never been to prison before. But nothing. I was an upstanding who never broke the law. I have a comedy humor. I have a big mouth, and I do make funny memes, and I always want to be on Saturday Night Live and Mad TV. I've always grown up watching Saturday Night Live, Mad TV, so I like to make jokes, like to make funny memes. I do that, but that's not illegal. And so I had never been tasered, nothing. Never pepper sprayed before, nothing. Before that point. And this guy pulls my pants down, and this American cop, pulls my pants down and tasered me in the butt, calls me the F word, and says, haha, take that F word, and tells me to go back to Canada. which I eventually did go back to Canada. So eventually I did go back to Canada. I had to, of course, I can't, not can't, anyway. And then they had the audacity to charge me. They actually had the audacity to put criminal charges on me, which eventually were all dropped. But I was put through hell for several months, if you know what I mean. So, am I on Team Russia now? Yeah, of course I'm on Team Russia. Who wouldn't be after that? Of course I'm on Team Russia. I have no loyalty or allegiance to the United States. I did have loyalty and allegiance to the United States because I did just love America when I was growing up. So at one point I did have loyalty allegiance. But Canadians, we don't have any loyalty or allegiance to the United States. We fought you guys in the war and we won. Canada had the War of 1812 with the United States. Technically, we're almost still like enemies, technically. I mean, in terms of countries, I mean, Canada has never had a war with Germany. No, we did have a war with Germany. Canada totally was against the Germans in World War II. Anyways, Canada never had a war with Russia. Anyways, Canada had a war with the United States. Canada had a war with the United States, and we won. And so Canadians, by definition, we have our own national anthem, we have our own flag, we're our own country, we're our own people. We have no allegiance to the United States of America. We do not go to Canadian school and sing the American national anthem. We sing the Canadian national anthem. And like rooted, it almost says it does it say it in the Canadian national anthem? They should say it. They should put it in the Canadian national anthem because that's effectively what happened. That's how Canada became Canada, by kicking America's butt. That's how Canada became Canada. So they should totally add into the Canadian national anthem. And we kicked those Americans' butts and their stupid flag was still there. You know what I mean? Canada, that's how we became a country. That's how we became Canada. Why wouldn't we be proud? By definition, to be Canadian is to be not Americans, to be by definition. So Canadians have, figuratively speaking, right? So Canadians, we have no allegiance to the United States. We do not have to be loyal to the United States. We don't have to protect the United States at all. We don't have to be dragged into all the wars that the United States likes to go into. In fact, Canada, in my opinion, and this is a fact, and I would say most people would agree, although they wouldn't admit it, but most people would agree that in my opinion, Canada is actually allies with China and Russia. And China, we got Russian guys everywhere. We got hot Russian guys everywhere. We got hardworking Chinese guys everywhere. We got hot Chinese guys. We got hot Russian guys everywhere. We got Asians, got Chinese. Anyways, we got people. We got Russians, we got Chinese. Okay, so Americans, if you ever try to storm the Canadian border, you have to fight through the Russians and Chinese first. And then if that doesn't work, we even got some North Koreans and Iranians in the back. So Canada, we're set. We're not just a bunch of pushover Canadians up here. Well, we are kind of pushovers because we let Russia and China just steamroll over us. But you might be able to push over Canadians, Americans. But you Americans, you cannot push over Russia and China, who pushed over Canada first. Russia and China pushed over Canada first and took over Canada, and now you might be able to push over Canadians, but you Americans, you cannot push over Russia and China. So, and sometimes Iran, and sometimes Germany, sometimes my German friend. Anyways, have you ever been to Germany? They got great Oktoberfest. I love going to Germany. They got Oktoberfest, they got sausages and beer, they got dancing. I mean, not everything in Germany is Oktoberfest, but I like to bring up Oktoberfest because obviously I don't like to bring up the other part of Germany, the history part of Germany. So I'm trying to make the Germans look good here, okay? Hollywood, it didn't enough. Hollywood made millions, hundreds, thousands, approximately, of those World War II movies, those Nazi Germany movies. Hollywood did that, to death. Hollywood did that already. Hollywood made all those Nazi World War II movies. I'm trying to make Germany look good, okay? I'm trying to make the Germans show what the Germans are good for, what the Germans are known for. Show what the Germans are good for. That sounds funny. Show what the positive things that the Germans are known for, right? So Germany has Oktoberfest. They got big sausages. The men got big sausages and beer. And the women, they serve big jugs of beer. And the women got, The women walk around and the men, they all dancing. So it's really fun to go to Germany, go to Oktoberfest.